Welcome back to the Weekend Journal on News Talk 580 WTCM. Jack O'Malley here with you. Oh, yeah, I tell you what, we're at that time of year in Lansing where they are looking at, by July, they like to be done for the summer because you do have to go back into your districts. Of course, there's parades and all those things you need to be at. And if you think, well, they should still be there working, I'm telling you what, if you don't show up in your community's parades and things like that, that's not good as a state representative because state reps are the closest thing to the people on the state government, really. Senators, God bless them. They've got, an area that's basically 3 House districts, so they got a lot more ground to cover. So state reps are definitely getting ready for their summer break. Now, I don't know. I haven't looked at the House calendar or the Senate calendar, but generally speaking, they're off for most of July. Then traditionally, they come back for a little bit in August, get a little more time off, and then are back after Memorial Day. So remember, next year is an election year for everybody in the state of Michigan. So everybody's going to be campaigning after the first of the year for sure. All right, let's take a look at what's been going on. Now, speaking of the time left in Lansing, there is the budget. That is always a big deal. Now, the Senate has kind of done traditional budget things. They've done their thing, and I think they're voting out different appropriation subcommittee budgets here, PDQ. And the House, though, according to some Lansing watchers, are dragging their feet. I wouldn't categorize it as that, but let's go. The Detroit News had an article that says Republican-led House moving slower than in past years to craft a state budget. Will they get it done by July 1st, which by law, there is no penalty if they don't do it. But the idea is have it done by July 1st so that school districts know what's coming. As of Wednesday, fewer than 8 weeks until that deadline, the State House Appropriations Committee had not advanced one House subcommittee budget. Senate Appropriations Chairwoman Sarah Anthony was concerned by the lack of action in the House. She says, we haven't seen anything real come out of the House yet. I have concerns that there's going to be an effort to shut down the government. Now, which is funny because the House Republicans, if you remember when we had the budget director on with us, Ann Boleyn, she said, we're hearing we're going to shut down the government, so let's pass a contingency budget to show that even if we do shut down, there's going to be money for schools and all that stuff. Well, the Dems didn't want any of that. Well, the July 1st goal, again, is by law, but not necessarily one where there's consequences. It's an effort to do that for schools. Senator John Bumstead said he's on the Senate Appropriations Committee. He said he believes the House is waiting to get more information from the Revenue Conference, which is coming up in a couple of weeks. And John Roth, representative in the House, said as a member of the Appropriations Committee, he says, we're tying delays to the House Republicans doing a deep dive in a budget that's $83 billion. The Dems, the Senate, has passed a budget or looking at a budget of $84 billion. The Gov has a $83.5 billion, and the House says they're going to come in lower than that. And you know what? I think the House Republicans are doing it right. They're saying, hey, we're going to look at every one of these budgets. People have called for Doge in Michigan. I think that they're doing it right. We're saying, look, as Rep. Boleyn, Chair Boleyn said, we're going to see what's constitutional that we, by law, Constitution we have to support. What has the courts told us that we have to do, and what by law do we have to do? And when I said constitutional, I should have said federal mandates. There's federal mandates. What have the court said we have to do, and what does the state law say? So I think taking it slow makes sense. So my 2 cents. We'll see what happens. The Senate Republicans, not the Democrats, they are making their appropriation bills or requests public like the House has done. And I think that is a great thing. The Senate Democrats haven't done it. But the House Republicans, if you remember now, have said, look, everybody's got to tell us what you want, what it's for, and your name has to go with it. And the vast majority of them won't get picked. or chosen to be part of the budget, but there is transparency there that has never been before. And the other thing about the budget is this rush to get it done, I think, lends to sloppy, behind closed doors, because eventually it is going to be the House Appropriations, the Senate Appropriations, and the governor's people sitting down and negotiating what we can do here. So I think a thoughtful approach is better than one that says, we got to get it done by July 1st because that's what we're supposed to do. I think we owe it, the legislature owes it to the people. All right, the subpoenas. Remember, we had Chair DeBoyer on. Well, I guess a week or so ago, the Secretary of State dumped 1,900 pages of stuff. And it said that this isn't even really the stuff we wanted. Supposedly there's more coming, but the Secretary of State has expressed concerns through the process that providing election training materials it would be a security concern. But yet there are all these hundreds, if not thousands, of local elections people that see this stuff. Who knows that they're not showing it to the Chinese? You know what I mean? So the whole security thing to elected legislators is baloney. Let's see here. Oh, remember as well, I guess this is kind of the follow-up tour here. We had Rep. Preston on talking about the UP and their rice generators. These were generators that when the state made them take down the coal plants, they still needed power generation. So they built these generators that are, combustion engines, and they cost a ton. And they aren't going to be paid off until 2050, I believe it is. But we're supposed to be 100% green by 2040. And they're saying, look, if we have to do that and pay for the new green stuff, we're going to be broke. So the House as a whole, it was a 82 to 27 vote, said, yes, you will get a pass. So now that goes to the Senate and then the governor. I hope that the Senate passes it because the UP needs a break. What was it, Rep. Preston said, the generators is clean energy. They're not, but they do create a practical bridge to compliance. And that's exactly correct. This is going to be a little bit of a controversial one. You can discuss amongst you. Senator Thomas Albert and Rep. Brad Paquette introduced bills this week that prohibit health care providers from providing hormone therapy, sex change surgeries, or any irreversible procedure related to gender-affirming care on minors, creating penalties for physicians that continue to provide them. In a press conference, the two explained that the bills are meant to prevent minors from receiving health procedures that they could later regret. Now, this, is a controversial thing. The LGBTQ community, many of them say, no, we need to do this. I guess where I would stand at that is, you have to be really careful with minors because, let's face it, kids can be really confused about a lot of things sexual when they're growing up. They don't know, and they probably might not really know until they're much older. So I think to just have parents say, well, yeah, we need to have this done for our child. Man, oh man, if that's going to proceed, there needs to be some real hoops that need to be jumped through there because even a well-meaning parent can screw up. So I think there's going to be a lot of discussion about this legislation. The odds of it getting to the governor's desk probably slim, but it's a discussion that needs to be had. That's one of the things, too, about all of this, that there are so many things that the two sides are drawn. I'm pro this, I'm against that, con that. And so if you try to discuss it with anybody, depending on which side, you're labeled a whatever. Well, this is an example of, okay, LGBTQ community, maybe they're wrong, okay? But let's have that discussion. And you don't want to get canceled just because you ask questions. So hopefully we can do that moving forward. The House has passed a resolution asking Illinois' governor to restart the Asian Carp Project. Now, this is crazy. Governor Pritzker stopped any work on the Brandon Road Interbasin project, which was going to stop the Asian carp, after President Trump took office because he wasn't sure that the funding would come through. Well, Pritzker's delay, here's the way I look at it, Governor Pritzker. Even if the Great Lakes states have to pay for the whole dang thing, which doesn't mean they will, do it. Because if those Asian carp get into the Great Lakes, you're screwed. Katie, bar the door. You want to talk about environmental disaster. So, Governor Pritzker, just get the thing going again, and let's figure out a way to pay for it if the federal money doesn't come through. And right now, there's no law, we don't know what's going to happen. All right, let's see here. This bill has a little personal to me. There was a testimony today that would, or this week, on bills that would allow epileptics to drive sooner than the 6th month ban. Representative Kurt Vanderwall testified before a House Health Policy Committee this week on a bill that I had introduced in my term. And we were this close to getting it figured out. But basically, here's the deal. In the state of Michigan, if you have a seizure, you can't drive for 6 months. Thing is, though, no doctor turns you in, right? Nobody knows it other than you. So the patient can choose, screw it, I'm just going to drive, right? Or they are good law-abiding citizens, and there they sit. They can't drive. They've got to rely on friends and relatives, or maybe they're in an area that public transportation stinks. Now they can't go to school, they can't go to work, they can't go to the grocery store. So this bill says, look, if you are on medication that's controlling your seizures, and there's all kinds of seizures, so this was going to be specific to types of seizures, and you can drive to work, to school, to this. And I know there's some, the Secretary of State is never for it. Right now, the Secretary of State said no, because the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration driver fitness medical guidelines say it should be 6 months. But other states have shorter times and have looser controls on this. If your doctor says you're on medication and your seizures are controlled, I say let them drive. Limited, right? Restricted driver's license, but let them get to work. Let them get to school, that sort of thing. So you've probably heard by now that U of M's President Santa Ono is leaving for Florida. Now, Santa Ono, as I understand it, is like the rock star, the Babe Ruth of college presidents. And we had him. Yahoo! Michigan's considered one of the great institutions to be in charge of. Well, he leaves. Why? Because speculation is, and I've read a few opinion pieces, that the whole Israeli Hamas, that whole thing, right? Anti-Semitism and whatnot. And many feel that he wasn't really doing the job and wasn't defending the University of Michigan. So he's leaving. And I think those of you who display your U of M flag, U of M is becoming one of the most liberal colleges, universities in the country. And that's good or bad. You can decide your thoughts. But I really question the Board of Regents, too. I don't get them. But anyway, just a FYI there. Also, State Rep Parker Fairbairn submitted a request to the Department of Natural Resources to let people have a little more time and have loosened up the rules to allow them to get wood from the roadsides for heating and all of that stuff because of all the storms in the north. He applauded the director for taking steps to increase the amount of wood that can be collected from 5 to 10 cords per household, but he would like to eliminate an application fee, making it free at least for this year, right? Eliminate the cap on the number of cords that can be collected, eliminate the 90-day permit period, making them good through the end of the year, and allow applications to designate a third party to collect or transport wood on their behalf. There is a lot of it out there, and it's just going to rot by the side of the road. Okay, Rep. Markkanen has requested $50 million in a state grant to help Copperwood and Gogeeba County and the township there. Now, this was part of the economic development folks a while back. There was a money that was going to be given to this mine to help open it up. Well, that has been rescinded, and this money would go to the township for infrastructure and all of that stuff to support the mine when it opens and that sort of thing, but would also help a very desolate township that could use the help. So I know one of the things that I think is interesting is we talk about all the rare earth minerals that we get from other countries, China, et cetera. And the United States is rich in minerals. But over the last few decades, the environmental world has really shut down our mining and really curtailed it. I believe in modern technology, mining is cleaner than it was, right? And that we should allow it. And the UP has got mining. There was a few years ago where the Democratic Party in the state, Sarah Cambenzi was the Dem rep from the Marquette area. She had a bill that said, hey, let's just study mining to show you that it can be done and it's good. The Democrats wanted to tar and feather her because she was supporting mining. Sometimes, gosh, it just drives me nuts. So that is something that I think we do need to keep an eye on, and we do need to realize is different than it was 100 years ago. Mining is something Michigan needs. All right. It's the Weekend Journal. I'm Jack O'Malley. Got more from Lansing coming up. Don't go away. Hey, we're welcoming you back. I'll spit it out. The Weekend Journal here on WTCM News Talk 580. Hey, happy Mother's Day, too, to all the moms out there tomorrow. Looks like we're going to have a gorgeous weekend. All right, let's continue with what's going on in Lansing. I think this is kind of interesting with all of the commenting about how we've got all these empty office buildings and that sort of thing. Wait a minute. I'm on roads. I'm sorry. We'll get to the other in a moment. But state officials are hoping to train at least 5,000 new infrastructure workers by 2030 to take advantage of all of the road work that lies ahead. Also comes as Michigan faces an aging workforce. They're hoping to get it all together. They want to have apprenticeship programs, recruiting and training of women and minorities, and et cetera, implement regional workforce strategies, and introduce infrastructure topics into K through 12 curriculum. One of the things that I've heard over my time is Michigan is a seasonal work zone. Right? They can't do it over winter. There's other parts of the country that can work on roads year-round. So we lose a good chunk of our road workers to other states who then just don't necessarily come back because they don't necessarily want to deal with winter. So that is something to consider as we look at that. Now, I got a comment on social media that says, Jack, we already paid for roads to be fixed to get it done. This is in comment, I guess, to last week's discussion on local roads. Jack, we already paid for the roads to get fixed, to get it done. Lying politicians have promised this for the last 3 elections. Cut all the pork budget, use the rainy day fund. Well, first of all, sir, you don't want to use a rainy day fund because it's there for emergencies, as we saw during COVID and other situations. So no touchy the rainy day fund. You are right that they've been talking about this for a very long time. Nobody has really had the guts, the chutzpah, to accept the fact that what we've done have been actually road fixes, patches, if you will. We need to put sustained money into the roads, and that's what Representative Speaker Hall and the governor are actually talking about right now, and the Senate is still kind of in la-la land. Here's something that really never gets brought up, but it is and should be part of the situation and the discussion. If we were, right now, our sales tax is 6 cents. I know people are going, no, Jack, you can't do it. Just, this is something to think about. Talk around the table, that sort of thing at breakfast tomorrow. If we were to raise our sales tax 1 cent, that would bring in over $1 billion a year. If we raised it 2 cents to 8 cents, which according to many states are in the country, that isn't that bad. We'd have $2 billion sustained new monies coming in every year, and we could use those for roads and school and that sort of thing. So there you go. Let's see here. There's the House package withholding statutory revenue sharing funds from municipalities with sanctuary policies. Passed the House in the past week. That'll never get through the Senate, but just so you know, it did pass the House. The Senate did pass their bill that would say school districts should come up with their own plan, but they should be limiting cell phone use. That one will have to meet up with the House bill. I tend to lean towards the Senate bill. Let the school districts decide from fairly lenient to a full ban if that's what they're having problems with in their school. Remember Representative Posthumus on to talk about the bill that he had, the resolution to put on make it in part of our Constitution, the fact that you would have to prove your citizenship to vote. That did not pass the House. It needed a 2/3 vote. It was strictly party lines. It didn't happen. So that's why while they were doing that, they had the second track of they're out trying to get signatures to put it on the ballot. So just FYI it. Let's see here. Nah, we won't talk about that one. Oh, yeah, I'll throw this one in there. I tried to get this gent on the show, but he never returned a call. Now I know why. State Senator Jeremy Moss is going to run for the U.S. House race in Oakland County. So he's a pretty level-headed Dem. Let's see here. We won't worry about that one. Oh, yeah, well, let's talk about this. President Trump's approval ratings are down in the state of Michigan. According to a new poll by Epic MRA of Lansing, showed a majority, 56%, give his performance a negative rating so far, as just fair, 11%, or poor, 45%, compared with 41% that gave the president positive marks, and so on and so forth. I won't go into too much of that. In a couple of weeks, though, we are going to have a guest on to talk about polling, because it is a big part of elections. It is kind of a window into the world of where people are thinking. So we'll talk polling in a few weeks. Oh, this is another one I thought was interesting. This week, State Representative Will Brunk discussed policy ideas for regulating drones. Now, there's real privacy issues there. Drones are getting bigger, stronger. There is the issue of eavesdropping. During this demonstration during the committee, a professional drone guy flew a drone around outside the Capitol and how they could be peeking in windows and whatnot. I did not see the testimony, but it sounded very interesting as we look towards what are those privacy rights? What can drones be used for? That sort of thing. So it is coming, and we need to have some rules and regulations on it. And then I'm going to throw this one in here. I got just enough time. Representative Ken Borton got into this business for a lot of reasons, but one of which was he had a bird feeder. And twice the DNR came to ticket him. Once they took him to court, and the judge threw it out the first time, but then they came back and said, you can't have a bird feeder. So he has a bill in front of everybody saying people should be allowed to have bird feeders. Of course, the DNR will ticket you saying that you're attracting bear and wildlife, you're baiting deer, whatever the case may be. So we'll see if that goes anywhere. I do think it's a little ridiculous, but the DNR, someday we're going to have to talk about JCAR. And you say, Jack, what's JCAR? JCAR is the Joint Committee on Rules. And, I'll tell you what, we'll talk about it. I don't really have time, but JCAR is really the root of all our problems. If there was one such thing. Right? All right, the Weekend Journal. Thank you very much for tuning in and being part of it. Appreciate you much. Back next week. News Talk 580, WTCM. Don't forget, we're on the YouTube, Jack O'Malley's Weekend Journal. Take care. Happy Mother's Day.